What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James. RedOptionAgency.com, Urban-Picker.com. 24 years selling full-time on eBay. I kind of want to go into a topic that's been on the top of my mind for about a week and a half now. And it involves YouTubers, reseller YouTubers, and beyond, actually. So I want to talk about some things there. But first, yesterday on eBay, had all those server failures. What's up, baby girl? Had all those server failures all day long. Somebody asked, what do I consider a server failure? First one is when it says server failure. But they kind of got rid of that term and replaced it on some of the shutdowns. Places that used to say server failure now will say, if you get the blank page with the white writing at the top, I forget the exact wording, but it's, in my eyes, it's pretty much the same thing. It means something failed to connect, and in my eyes, that's a server failure. In my uneducated mind of tech. Then others is when it says failure to do so, please try again later. To me, that's a server failure. So there was a connection not made there and something failed. The platform's on a server, so I'd call it a server failure. So, so that's just when things fail to load properly, or it's the site doesn't load properly, it's a failure. So I just call them all server failures. Whether that's exactly what they are technically or not, I don't know. So yesterday ended up making it a little over 600 for the day. So better than I thought it was going to, but I'm getting that bowl pattern again on my media store. And I think that's just what it's telling me is when they put the changes in, the sales drop. That's a normal thing. And then, like I've said before, it usually takes 2 to 7 days in order for them to wrangle the site back into somewhat proper working condition, depending on how, I always look at it as depending on how massive the update or the maintenance, the mass of the destruction it caused across how many servers, et cetera, et cetera. I've been kind of explained a little bit in the past on, and if it's true or not, I don't know, but when things are updated on the site, some servers will act differently than others. Some, it's like a string, basically, and it'll work, the update or maintenance will work here, but it won't work here. And then it might take time to get through all of them to get it all fixed. Now, if that's how it was explained to me, but again, I don't know the credentials of the person explaining it to me, but that's how it was kind of explained to me, and it kind of makes sense. So, which would dictate on why sometimes it takes 2 days to fix something, some days it takes 7 days to fix something, and why both of my stores act totally different. One's 24 years old, one's a year old, and they both totally act different. And that's the reasoning why I opened the second store, in hopes of when the media store had a day like yesterday, then the new store kind of picks up the slack. Like if I didn't have that store yesterday, my whole day would probably only be a $300 day. It may have been a little bit higher with some, let's just say $400 day. But I feel with that second store, since they act totally different, it kind of makes up for it and turned my, what would be a $400 day into a $600 day. So that's the way I kind of view it. And I've almost debated opening up a third store, honestly. I don't know what I'd put in there, but just because they act so different. I thought about opening up a third store and just start putting new media in there. Maybe doing a high-end store. Like all my best condition stuff goes into this store, and I elevate the price and come up with some high-end name for it. And anything that sells out of there is just 100% bonus stuff. So I've kind of thought about that. And then like sealed items with no cracked cases, new in the box with no box damage, just top of the line, boutique type of stuff or something, you know, so. But, oh, that's a lot of work. A lot of work that I don't know would be worth it or not, so. This morning, and my morning numbers don't seem to matter because it seems like everything changes after about 11 a.m. lately. After 11 a.m., I just start getting hours and hours of nothing coming through. I get the bulk of my stuff between like 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. And then it just goes dead silent. Like I probably had 4 offers to send, or 4 offers come in overnight last night, which to me dictates another maintenance shutdown last night. And then it looks like my, if I'm reading this right, we'll see. My offers to watchers for the media store was up today, and it was like 30. Like yesterday, I had only a few, and then at between like 9 and 11 or something, I got 30 instead of all night getting my normal 50 that I normally would get. Where this morning, my media store seemed normal with the offers to watchers to send out, yet my clothing store number was low. So it almost looked like my media store was getting the brunt of the problems yesterday, where maybe my clothing store will get the brunt of it today. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. It's hard to really even care anymore. So, but then again, my clothing store right now is at $600. Yeah, I wish. $106, $107. And my media store is only at $65. So, so 170 at 9 a.m. But again, like I said, I get the bulk between 8 and 11, and then it kind of just vanishes for the day. That's those low bowl days. I almost got to kind of, on the clothing store, have those bowl actions too, honestly. Between August 21st and August 26th. August 26th to August 30th. 31st through still going. So I kind of got a bowl action going on over here also. It's just much smaller since less sells from this store. Boo 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 boo. All right. So a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago or so, a reseller on YouTube made a video. I had made one before that calling out somebody, you know, a channel that I felt was lying and just being dishonest to its viewers. Somebody said they responded and made a video. I haven't checked it out. I don't care personally. Hopefully it got me some subscribers. That's the way I kind of look at it. Anybody can say whatever they want about anybody. You know, it's whatever. Other people's opinions or whatever on me don't matter to me. You know, that's not my problem. But so about a week and a half ago, this YouTuber made a video about how certain other YouTubers promised him help here, promised him help there, only gave him a GoPro or something like that, and didn't do anything else for him, and how all these other sellers, channels or whatever, said they were going to do something for him, help him, but they never did, etc., etc. First off, from my perspective, when somebody says they're going to help you, 99.9% of the time I take it with a grain of salt. People just trying to be nice. That's just the way I always, like, I don't expect nothing. You know, they say it's the thought that counts, right? Because at the end of the day, you're still responsible for you and who you are and where you're going and what you're doing. And I had made a comment on that video because during the video, you know, it was kind of a hypocritical sense in one aspect. The one thing that triggers me is when people go play the race cards, white, black, stuff like that, when they use those terminologies, because to me, we're all just one shade of human, or not one shade, but different shades of human. And I pull that from where I grew up in the ghetto situation. And like I said before, I grew up with every type of person there is on this planet, from skin tone wise to age wise to even height wise, meaning tall people and little people. So, you know, I grew up around it all. And when you're in that kind of a setting and situation, more times than not in your neighborhood, at least in my neighborhood, there was no this type of human against this type of human, right? Everybody's there. Everybody's in the trenches together. There might be one family against another family, and you know, that's a totally different situation. But so that always triggered me, but I kind of understand where the tone of the video was coming from because I've been there before. But I wanted to kind of highlight in a funny way the hypocrite of what was said in the video, but based on color. Like, try to put down, I guess, I don't know if put down's the right word, say that white people, when they forget the name of a person, they just try to pronunciate it. It's so-and-so, I can't remember his name now, you know, and try to pronounce it or whatever. Probably like you've seen me do a million times. But then in the video, he couldn't remember names of people. So I found that a little funny. So I made a comment on white people can't remember the names, are accused of not being remembering the names of people, yet in this video, a black man. So I just played the game and tried to make it funny on top of it. You know, pointing out the weirdness in a comedic way and not in any sort of attack type of way or anything like that, right? Just having fun with it. Because at the end of the day, I don't care, you know. But I understood where the video was coming from. Kevin Commonwealth texted me and screenshotted my comment and laughed at it. And my comment back to Kevin just came off the top of my head was, because Kevin was included in that video a lot about stuff, and my comment back to Kevin was, he must be going through something. That's when those types of videos are made. And when I said that, it just kind of triggered thoughts and memories in my head. Because when I was going through, I mean, if you go back through my videos, when I was going through dad stuff, my dad, taking care of my dad dying, Vern going through bone cancer, you know, any kind of struggle, right? You're in a vulnerable position. You're in a vulnerable place, and you're evaluating everything in your head. And here's the thing. YouTubers, streamers, those that are not fake, who are not putting on a show, like, this is not a show. If it was, I'd have a hell of a lot more viewers, right? Like, I say everything. And I don't watch, like, somebody like Kevin, you know, I don't watch him enough to really know this true, but his feels like more of a show, right? It's a certain time all the time and in a certain way, right? It feels produced, if you will. You know, this is not a negative statement. It just feels more like a show. And there might be stuff he don't talk about. I don't know him that well, right? Where me, I'll talk about anything and everything, and I don't care, and I don't have no set time, and I'm just all over the place, depending on my mood for the day. I can't turn my mood of the day off just to make a polished video, right? That's not who I am. Sometimes I wish it was, to be honest with you. I wish I could just do that, but I can't. It's not who I am. If it was, I feel like I would have a lot more followers. I'd be more consistent, which would be more followers and better growth. And so it's not a bad thing, especially if you want to make money doing it, right? It's harder to make money when you're sporadic and your topics are sporadic. I mean, I'm not talking about reselling exactly right now. Talking more about the reseller YouTube environment and then beyond also. And I notice in comments, whether it's my video or videos like his or whatever, that the people who come after people in vulnerable headspaces, they're afraid to even put their real face on their thumbnail, right? Let alone make a video, let alone put whatever's in their head out on video, right? How many people are doing that? There are probably successful YouTubers who are afraid to do that. Yet you have, they call them trolls, who are afraid to even put their face on a thumbnail or their real name in their account. But yet they try to come after somebody in a vulnerable position for putting themselves out there, right? So I don't pay attention to people like that because, like I've always said, that shows more about that person than anything else. And they're too naive or too far within themselves or too narcissistic, whatever the case may be, to understand the whole picture of what they're producing when they try to troll on somebody. They don't see the whole picture like I see. You can't even put your name on the thing. You can't even put your picture in the thumbnail. You're nobody. You're nothing, right? Your thoughts don't matter, type of thing. But I have nowhere to go with this. I'm just kind of just spitballing, if you will. And I have respect for people who will put their thoughts out there, no matter what they are, no matter how controversial somebody may think they are. Because my look at my view of everything is everybody goes through something. Everybody handles that differently. And I have mad respect for people when they're going through something to put it out there, right? Like, I hope in the future, like I would, like if I was going through something, videos later, you might hear me talking about what I'm going through, right? So you can put two and two together, if you will. So people who put themselves out there 100%, I have respect for. People who just who may just go, oh, this will be a hot topic and be controversial, so it'll get me a lot of views, and put it out there for that reason. And that's a whole nother story. Whether that person was doing that or not, I have no idea. I don't watch those videos. That's probably the first video I watched by the person. So I don't know if he has other videos where he says, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, right? If he does, then I have mad respect for that. So when you're putting everything out there of, yeah, I said this, I'm going through this, like I said, if you watch some of my old videos, you can see how I might be saying something that rubs some people wrong, whatever the case may be. And so I always view anytime that, and I view the trolls the same way. Like, anytime that somebody comes at me, whether it's in a video or says something about me in a video or says something about me in the comments, if I'm not in a vulnerable headspace, it don't matter when I'm in a vulnerable headspace, but it gets to you a little bit more, right? You think about it a little bit more because you're just trying to change your thought process of where you're at mentally. Because when you're going through something, that's on your mind constantly, and you're just looking for an escape. You just want a way out. You just want to think something differently. You want a distraction. And when you're putting yourself out there on video, the comments are your distraction, right? They're part of what's going on to separate yourself from whatever, stress you're going through, failure you're going through, whatever the case may be. And so you struggle to find a distraction, and you harness on negative. Like the headspace I've been in for quite a while now, like comments mean nothing to me. Bad comments mean nothing to me. How about that? I still like the positives. But I just roll right over the other ones because I understand they're going through something. There's a reason why they would come on and negatively attack somebody or negatively say something about somebody, because it's the same way that I know I've done in some past YouTube videos that other people who put themselves out there have done in the past. So I understand that to say something in a negative headspace, it's because you're going through something. And who am I to judge, care, or worry about somebody else, what they're going through, if I don't know who the hell they are, right? So I just blow right past them and don't think nothing of them. But then I pull in the positives for my own reinforcement because I'm already feeling good. So let's get a dopamine hit of somebody saying, thank you for the list easier thing. Yes. Type of thing. So I use the positives as like the dopamine hits, and the negatives just, they're going through something. I feel sorry. I don't even go that far thought process, but my internal thought process would be, I understand. I feel sorry for you. Hopefully you get through it, type of thing. So I just roll past it, right? So when I see videos like that, I just think, first thing in my thought was he's going through something. Well, it wasn't my first thought, but it was probably subconsciously thought that. But then when I responded to Kevin's text, it made sense to me. Like, he's going through something. So what's the point of me talking about this? I have no idea. Maybe just if you don't know that, be aware of it. If you see, usually when people like leave bad comments, your first thought is they're in their parents' basement, and or they're 48 years old and still in their parents' basement. To me, that's a struggle, right? That's a stress. They may not be in that physical spot, but that headspace is probably where they're at. Stressed out or feeling like a failure, feeling lost, whatever the case may be. I mean, if you're 48 years old and you're still in your parents' basement and you're talking negative online to people to anything, it's the headspace that they're in. And you're in your parents' basement is just, I think, like, it's the Karen of a situation, of a type of person, their headspace or whatever. So that's how I view that. So like me, I'm the person that don't get mad about anything. I don't hold grudges. Like, if I'm upset about something, I'm over it in like 2 minutes. I hold no ill will toward anybody who's ever said or most of the time even done. I mean, I'm still friends with a couple people who did me dirty when I was younger. And like I said, we all go through things. I don't hold any ill will against them. I don't hold anything against them at all. Because we're all, we're all going through this life thing. And I know I say sometimes society don't make it easy, but could you imagine if there was no society, how hard it would be? I mean, if we all had to fend for ourselves for every single thing, like hunting for our own food, growing our own food, finding clean water for the day, could you imagine how hard that would be? So when I say sometimes society don't make it easy, it's still easier than what it would be without society. And then I'm not going into what parts of society need to be tweaked and should be changed. I mean, it's never going to happen because politicians are dirty people. But so that stuff's never going to change. So you always got to look out for yourself, period. You just got to, take full advantage of, the society you're in and how can you benefit and put yourself in the best happy space during your ride through life. But I don't hold, that's why I don't, I can't think of anybody offhand. Because I usually just blow it off. Like anybody who came back, who comes back from anything and says, hey, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong. Oh, no problem. I didn't think nothing of it. You were going through something, no big deal. And I think if everybody would be more aware that people go through things, and people who put themselves out there, you're going to see them go through things. You're going to firsthand see it. They're not hiding it behind the scenes. Just remember that they may just be having a moment. They may be having a year, whatever, how long it takes for them to figure it out. Realize it and treat it as such. Meaning, be understandable. Understand that what they're saying is a cause, or an effect, I should say. It's an effect of a cause. Is that right? It's a reaction to what's going on in their mind. And don't be too hard on the people, because at least they're not keeping it bottled up. How many times have you seen things in my videos where I am talking myself through it? Even just simple stuff like organization, like in my organization videos. You see me talking through it, and then I figure it out. Well, that's the same with everything in life. Whether it's a stressful situation, whether it's your parents dying, whether it's your brother dying, whether it's your dogs dying. I have respect for people who talk through things. And I understand that people may say things that they regret later on because they're in that vulnerable headspace. Hell, I beat myself up every day for things I've said all my life. And I wish I could just let it go. I wish I didn't have a conscience and I could be like, oh, who cares? I wish I could be that 100% selfish, unconscious person at times where I can be like, no skin off my back, I don't care, and just keep burning bridges, right? But yet, when I burn a bridge or whatever, I feel it and I beat myself up over it time and time again. And that's why I've apologized to everybody I could in my past, because I felt I was, I was a selfish asshole, if you will. And was that because I was going through something? Yeah, I was trying to get the hell out of my environment and I was being selfish about it. I wasn't taking no prisoners. I was just going, trying to go somewhere. Was it the right way of doing it? Who am I? I don't know. Maybe it was the right way for me to do it. Maybe that was the only way I could do it. Maybe if I wasn't that selfish asshole, I would still be stuck in a 3-room apartment with cockroaches. I don't know that, right? I don't regret it, but I apologize for it. And the one friend said, the one friend who actually did something bad to me at the time, and I'll tell you if you want, I was dating this girl, and two of my friends turned her against me, and one started dating her. And I had to rally my other friends to fix the situation, and then she realized what's going on, and we got back together, type of thing. I mean, as a young 20-year-old or even a teenager, that's one thing that somebody crosses that line, they're usually, you know, out of the picture, but I'm still friends with them. I forgave and moved on and understand that people go through things, people change, and for the most part, and when I'm in a nice headspace, a happy headspace, I am more aware of things like that. When you get two negative people in headspaces, that's when there's a lot going on. That's when there's battles and words said, and the regret will go deeper and deeper and deeper, and become bigger, and it becomes a big old world war, if you will, when you get two people in those negative, stressful, failing, whatever headspaces, and they're going after each other. That's when it gets ugly. But if you're in a nice, free-flowing, happy headspace, don't hold anything against people who speak their mind. And I don't say that for my own purpose. I mean, you can hold whatever you want against me. I don't personally don't care, If I offended you, I get it. I understand. Sorry. Move on. Because I've moved on. That's not one of the things I would beat myself up over, That's comes to close friends or family members, right? When I beat myself up years later is because I may have said something to a friend or a family member that maybe I shouldn't have, and I apologize for it, but I still beat myself up for being that person or saying that, not really being that person, but saying what I said, not having some control over. But that's the thing. When you're in those headspaces, you don't have control over it. You don't have control over it because you're emotional. You're going through something. You know what? I'm glad I said that. I said I beat myself up for things I've done in the past. But yet I forgave friends who screwed me over. But I've never forgiven myself. Why? I was going through something. If I can forgive them, why can't I forgive myself? Instead of just sorry. Sorry, I was going through something. I know it's just a phrase. The phrase of you feel a weight come off your shoulders. It's more feeling a weight come out of your head. I just had that. By saying that. I've forgiven everybody who screwed me over. Why can't I forgive myself for screwing myself over? Or screwing somebody else over, not technically, but in words. Sorry, I was going through something. That's not where I am today. Boom. End it, James. You're good. Why did I never see that? Why did I never realize that? Why did I never think of that? Wow. At the end of the day, man, we're all freaking humans just trying to figure stuff out, right? This life, as we call it as a human, is not an easy journey. There are a lot of road bumps. There are a lot of struggles. There are a lot of sad moments. There are a lot of bad moments. But who you are, the root of who you are, will always come out in the end. No matter how many, no matter what the bad times are, the bad thoughts were, the bad doings were, it don't make you a bad person as a whole. It don't make you that person as a whole. That's probably a better way to put it, because who's to say it's good or bad? Because there's 3 sides to every story. So at the end of the day, the only people I stop forgiving are the repeat offenders. Because they got old and I knew nothing was ever going to change. Whereas everybody else, more times than not, they are not that person, that snapshot in time, that video, that act. I guess I failed to realize that when may have said things in the past or whatever that I regretted to friends, that they probably look at it the same way I looked at it. Dude, we're brothers. We came from the same areas. We grinded through stuff and we're still standing today. We're good. They probably had the same views about you. So is there a point? I don't know. This has probably been all over the place. I don't know. But the whole point is, don't hold bad moments against good people. I guess that's pretty much the icing on the cake right there. Don't hold bad moments against good people. And on that note, thanks everybody. I will see you all in the next video.